Welcome back. I'm reading you Chapter 4, A Nice Family Dinner. I'm going to have to split this one up into two parts just because it's just a little bit too long to show you guys. So here we go. The Storybook Grill was a popular place for dinner during the week. By 7 o'clock each night, the diner was usually filled with families and teenagers ordering their weight in goblin fries and midnight milkshakes. There were always loud and energetic crowds, and tonight was no exception. However, the group in the booth at the very back did not match the liveliness of the other patrons, so they stuck out like sore thumbs. Cindy, Lindy, Mindy, and Wendy, 4 teenage girls recently reinstated as the book huggers, somberly sipped milkshakes and shared a basket of fries. The girls each had a copy of The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle in front of them, but none of them seemed very interested in it. "We should probably talk about the book if we're going to be a book club again," Cindy said. The other girls nodded, but no one was eager to start. The quartet had recently taken a break from books to focus on other passions, passion, and started the Conspiracy Club. However, the book club only made them more restless than they already were, and they had been advised to take up reading again. "Did anyone have a favorite passage they'd like to share?" Cindy said, "or maybe a favorite character?" All the book huggers were quiet, forcing Cindy to take charge. "Lindy, let's start with you," she said. Lindy was awkwardly hunched over her milkshake and staring off into space when Cindy called on her. Wherever her mind was, it wasn't on Sherlock Holmes. I like The Hound," Lindy said. "The Hound of Baskervilles?" Cindy asked. Lindy looked uncomfortably from side to side. "Was there more than one?" "Did you even read the book?" Cindy asked. Lindy's hunched lower than before and shamefully shook her head. "Did anyone read the book this week?" Cindy asked. The other book huggers slumped with embarrassment and shook their heads as well. Cindy let out a long, frustrated sigh. "We can't revive the book club if we're not going to read books," she said. "But if I'm honest, I didn't read The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes either." "I started it," Mindy said. "It was just so hard focusing on a fictitious mystery when a real-life mystery has never been solved." The book huggers nodded in agreement. No matter how hard they tried to inspire themselves with new interests, new hobbies, and new clubs, or by resurrecting old clubs, the only thing consistently on their minds for the past year was the disappearance of Alex and Connor Bailey. "You'd think it'd get easier over time, but it doesn't," Lindy said. "We only started asking questions about Alex because we were bored and had read all the books in the school library," Mindy said. "But every answer only gave us more questions, and the more questions we had, the more infatuated we became. I've read books and watched television shows about people with real-life obsessions, but I never thought I'd become one of them," Lindy said. "It's all I think about when I'm awake and all I dream about when I'm asleep." Wendy nodded. It affected her sleep, too. "Bree Campbell knows something we don't," Cindy said, "but until one of us gains telepathic powers or waterboarding is legalized, I don't think we'll ever get it out of her." "She's been absent for school for almost 2 whole weeks," Mindy said. "I wouldn't be surprised if she's the next one to get transferred to Vermont, as they say." Life had become exhausting to no end for the book huggers. They felt like mice stuck in a maze with no cheese. "What are we going to do, girls?" Lindy asked the table. "I don't want this to affect the rest of our lives. I want to become a psychologist, not need a psychologist." "I'll never be a heart surgeon if I can't focus on medical school," Mindy said. "I'll never win my first presidential debate if I can't remember real issues," Cindy said. Wendy pointed to the ceiling and made an X with her fingers, implying she would never fulfill her dream of becoming an astronaut. "It's gone too far, ladies," Cindy said. "This is just like 1984, and there's no use fighting Big Brother anymore. We have to pull ourselves together while we still can. For the sake of our sanity and our destinies, we have to forget about the Bailey twins." The book huggers raised their milkshakes and clinked them together. They were ready to turn over a new leaf. The undertaking wouldn't be easy, but it was necessary if they wanted to live normal lives again. Unfortunately, the book huggers' noble venture was about to feel like a punchline in a great cosmic joke. The front door of the Storybook Grill swung open, and the Bailey twins walked in with Charlotte and Bob. Wendy happened to glance up from her milkshake right at the second and was the first to notice Alex and Connor. For the first moments of seeing them, Wendy was certain she was hallucinating. They had just been talking about the Bailey twins. It was way too coincidental for them to be in the same diner at the exact same time. But the longer they stayed in her sight without disappearing, the more she realized they weren't a mirage. The real-life Alex and Connor Bailey were right there. Wendy was paralyzed with shock. The color drained from her face and she couldn't feel her arms or legs. I think we should actually read The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, Cindy said. Next week, we'll come back to this diner and have a real discussion about it like we used to. I concur, Mindy said, but can we do it a week from tomorrow? I'm getting my braces off a week from today. Congratulations, Lindy said. Will you have to wear a retainer? Wendy began humming to get the other book hugger's attention, but she was drowned out by the noise of the diner. Just for the first 6 weeks, and then only at night after that, Mindy said. I was so relieved when I finally had mine taken off, Cindy said. It felt like handcuffs had been removed from my mouth. My dentist said I don't need braces, Lindy said. It's probably a good thing. I wouldn't have the patience for them. Wendy couldn't believe they were talking about something so meaningless when something so extraordinary was right in front of them. She managed to regain feeling in one hand and lightly tapped Cindy on the shoulder with it. Wendy, are you okay? Lindy asked. You look like you're going to be sick, Mindy said. Was there something in your midnight milkshake? Cindy asked. Desperate for them to see what she was seeing, Wendy used resources she hadn't used since the first grade. Spoken words. Alex! Connor! Over there, Wendy peeped. Her voice was high-pitched and squeaky like a baby bird's. The book huggers were so shocked to hear her make a noise, it took them a second to realize that she had actually used words out loud, and they had meaning. Once the message was interpreted, they jerked their heads in the direction of the door so fast that they pulled muscles in their necks. Once they all saw the Bailey twins with their own eyes, the book huggers went as still and as pale as Mount Rushmore. And I'm going to stop the chapter right there, and I'll come back to you guys with the second video. I'll see you in a bit. Bye.